Wise Wednesdays started on April 1st with a humble episode on forgiveness. Between then and now, we've had heart-led conversations on happiness, stress management, relationships, resilience, public speaking, respecting boundaries, self-discovery, mindset, just being, listening, reclaiming your life, intuition, and even food. I would like to thank all my listeners and the guests who gave me their time and trust. It is because of you that we kept going. It is because of you that we kept growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. And hello to everyone on episode 57 of Wise Wednesdays with RK. My name is Ruqya Khan. I come from the world of words, and why I'm super excited today is because I have the opportunity to host someone who's suddenly become the eye of everybody. Okay, great. The apple of everybody's eye. Look at me, I'm fumbling with my words, and don't blame me. I've known her since she was 2 days old, and after a point of time, I began to look up to her. No, not making jokes on height, but I'm 5 feet tall, so you guessed it. Long story short, I am hosting today Faria Abdullah. You're all here to watch her. You're all here to cheer her on. She's an actor. She is a dancer. She's a painter, a poet, somebody who loves beauty in life. And without further ado, I bring to you Faria. Yay, we got Aida watching as well. Thank you, Mama. All right. So, see, the reason I picked to speak to you is because I see suddenly, you're in the eye of the storm, or the eye of stardom, and all that's going on around you, and yet I see you so grounded. And that to me really touched my heart. And I said, this is a message that we need to put out there, because it's usually that I ask the speaker to select the topic, but this time we worked it the other way around, because I felt, a lot of us now live in this age where we're influenced by so many things, right? We're surrounded by influences. And so are you. Yet you chose to have a different way of looking at things. At least that's how I see it. So that's why I said, let's get on this interview and let's do a conversation around staying grounded. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I just realized that you said this is the 57th episode, which means you've completed a year almost, and this is the beginning of a new.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so tell me, how is it like? How are you feeling right now?
Right now, the fever is just coming down. The movies now on an OTT platform, and everyone's watching it. A lot of different types of reviews coming, especially after the thunderous response that we received from the theater. Um, so I think it's slowly just cooling off, and people are now seeing me, or maybe they're not. They still see me as a character, but they're starting to see me as who I am, and uh, at least bits and pieces, not completely. Um, so yeah, I think my personality is slowly starting to come out, and that's what's happening lately.
Mhm,
Apart from that, feeling like what next? अब क्या करना है यहाँ तो पहुंच गए.
mhm.
Now what next?
Yes.
Because it's a ladder that I'd like to keep climbing. I mean, I obviously enjoy the platforms that I take a pause at, but there are obviously more levels to go to, and either they're higher or at the same dimension. But there's definitely more. There's definitely more growth that I'm looking forward to.
Super. So when you speak of the ladder, and then we're talking about staying grounded. So a conversation I had yesterday was about how, the choices where you are is because of the choices you've made, right?
Yes.
So if you've climbed up a ladder, it's because you've made a choice. Or if you're standing down on the ground looking at which ladder do I climb, that's again a choice you're making.
Yeah.
So how important have the choices that you've made in terms of getting into art, and why art actually? Even before that, why art?
I think art is you know a concept or an idea or a way of life that it's like spirituality or religion. It chooses you. You don't choose it, and it becomes a part of you. It slowly slides into your hand, your veins and nerves and stuff, and I don't think you can do anything about it once it just creeps into your body, mind and soul. So to be honest, I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but this was the life that chose me.
Oh yes, it did.
So I think I mean, like I mentioned, you know, right now it's super important what I do next. In fact, there are lots of eyes and lots of questions about, hey, what's up with your next project? What's up? What are you gonna do next? What's it like? So I think more than ever now, there's a lot of pressure about what what's next. But
Hmm.
uh, when I was making those choices earlier, which the consequences of which brought me to where I am right now, they were just choices based on um, the pull the pull that I had towards that project or the choice that I was making. And I think you can call it intuition, or you can call it the excitement that you have for some passion in it, or it could even be money for that matter. Even if that's what oh my god, this is so cool. I'm so happy that I'm able to say this on your show right now. But do you remember there was this one time that you had asked me? I was at a very pivotal point in my life. I think that at that point, I don't know where, but you had asked me this question, Faria, always question yourself, what drives you?
What did I? Okay.
And that's always stayed with me,
Hmm.
and it just comes up in random places. And I think that's one of the important things. I
Hmm.
question myself, what drives me?
Yep. So I think that is what I was trying to ask you. That what really drives you, because your loyalty to art, whether it's painting, whether it's poetry, whether it's photography, whether it's dance, for that matter, is just I don't have words for it. So that's where I was wondering. Okay, so what really drives you? So yes, there can be so many drivers, and each one of them, that there's no right or wrong, isn't it? At the end of the day,
Yep.
so
Yep.
yeah. So to know yourself is super important. And there's a friend of mine who actually wanted me to propose this question to you. He said, "What was that moment when you knew that acting was the thing?" Or is acting the thing? Let me just even ask you, take you one step back and ask you, do you think that acting is truly the thing for you, or hmm,
To be honest, I've always thought that there's no one the thing for me. And I think
hmm,
that's one of the reasons why I've been able to work on so many different forms of art and different uh, passions parallelly,
hmm,
because I've not limited my mindset to saying that ke ye hi karna hai, or this is the only thing that I can do or I will do. Because
hmm,
I've said this before, and I truly believe in this, that all forms of art are very, very deeply integrated. And I think, uh, you know, to be able to differentiate them at the required point is what is important. So if I'm acting at that point, but
hmm,
I really want to get into direction. I like art direction. I like music. It's something that I started really, really late. I started with one instrument, and then I continued singing, which I had left really long ago. So I'm still practicing that. So there are like different levels at which I am in different art forms, but I don't intend to leave it at that point. I Even if it's up to a year, 2 years, 8 years, I still want to get back to it because I don't know. It just feels right.
hmm.
So I don't. I to answer your question, I don't think acting is the thing, but I think right now it's working well for me.
Hmm.
I think that's my strongest point right now because I've invested a lot of time in it. I've done almost 5, 6 years of theater, which is really helpful with film acting. And I think I love reading people a lot, so that helps me with characters. And yeah, so I think that's my strongest point right now. So that's what's working.
Super. All right, and speaking of that's what's working, there is a lot of noise around you at the moment, right? There's, as you said, it's settling down, but there is noise around you. So how do you kind of hear what's going on within you in spite of the noise?
I'll be honest, it is difficult because
Hmm.
uh, it's not very long ago that I found that voice.
Yes.
It's quite recent, and it was a process. It was a slow process. Layer by layer, I um, kind of unveiled that voice, and uh, I hear it once in a while. Sometimes I don't hear it for a really long time. Um, but thankfully, I have people around me um, who know me well enough to call out. Say, "Hey, that's pretentious. That's not you."
Hmm.
And so I'm super grateful for that because that way, even when I don't like it, even when it's like nerve wracking, oh, I just know that they're right, and I know that something's off about what I'm feeling or what I'm doing. So I guess it's important to have at least one or two people in your life who keep you grounded
Hmm.
and keep you close to your voice. I think it's important that they themselves have, you know, found their own voice to be able to do that for you. So it's
True.
very
True.
difficult, I think, to find even one person. But yeah, I'm glad I have at least two, three.
That's really a blessing. That's truly a blessing. So we have it's super important who you're surrounding yourself with and who's in your closer circle. So these interviews that I do are actually, as I like to say, I invite people from my circle of genius because whether I'm at conferences, whether I'm speaking at webinars, etc., I get to meet so many people, and so then I say, okay, guys, you do this best, so come, let's speak together, and so that's where these conversations have actually started on from, and. However, we live in a world where we're constantly looking at validations, right? External validations. Ooh, I like how those eyes lit up. so, so
Yeah.
how, I mean, how do you overcome that? How do you override those external validations? And before you even answer that question, let me acknowledge everybody who's watching. We've got so many people. We've got close to 31 people on board on the call, and there are some who have actually waved at us. So I'm just going to call out names before you answer that. We've got Rajni. I'm going to just highlight these quickly. So we've got Rajni, we've got Disha, we've got Shrikant. I won't call out the names, I'll just share these. And of course, Katsaji. Can't call her by her name for the life of me. All right, who else do we have? Okay, we've got her. Yes, it is 3 a.m. there.
Oh, damn.
All right. We've got Dale, who is a regular who listens in from my page. Thank you, everybody, for giving us your time. We've got Vidya as well, Ishwar, uh,
Thank you,
Sa-
Ishwar.
Sainath. So everybody, if you're new to the platform, do subscribe, do give it a like, and continue to be part of these conversations. All right. So yes, we've got. That's just about it. Lots and lots. Oh, and of course, this one. How could I have missed it? All right. So back to our question. All the noise of validations, the need for validations, how do you rise above that noise and how do you kind of make sure that you stay grounded?
I think validation is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Super important. I think to rise above it is to think already that you're better than someone, so which is the um, ulta purpose of getting validation, which is like
Hmm.
you think you're validating yourself, but not really. You're actually putting yourself in a bubble of your ego, I guess, I believe. But I think validation from the right people is what we must seek,
Yep.
because that way it feeds the ego, um, but in the right way.
Mhm.
it gives it what it requires, but there's also scope for improvement. And I think that's one of the things that keeps me grounded as well. I've actually made tiny notes, um, and coming back to the connections of it. So that's definitely one of the things that keeps me grounded. The hunger to keep growing, but the validation kind of appreciates where you've reached. So every time I grow, get some validation, I enjoy where I am, and then I grow a little more. So that is like the push, the fuel to grow a little more. So I don't think validation is bad. I don't think it should be avoided at all. I think it just needs to come from the right people.
Love that. Definitely needs to come from the right people because, again, they know right from wrong, and more than anything, they know you. They know you, and they understand what's good for you and what's a good fuel. And the fuel can be used in two different ways. It can be used to either get the car moving forward, or it can be used to light something aflame, and still it's fuel at the end of the day, right? So yeah, so it depends on how you're using it at the end of the day. All right. So, so we spoke about acting, we spoke about validations and being grounded and all of that. And I think, and as I said, I think this was an important conversation. This is an important conversation because sometimes success goes to your head, right? And it happens not with just teenagers, not with just people who are young, but also with people who are in the prime of life, who are out there. So I think I'm sounding very repetitive, but I'd really like to know, anybody that you look up to as a role model, or someone who's really been that influence where you realized, okay, I see this person, they're right there, up there, yet they're you know balanced, and I'd like to be that person.
I think there are multiple people who do that for me. Um, and I feel like I take what I like from different people, because I feel that not everybody is perfect, and to have that expectation from them is unfair, because when you truly love someone, you know that they come with their flaws, and to accept that is a part of that love. So if I'm inspired by somebody, for me to be like I want to be exactly like that person is sort of unfair. So I believe that I would like to take like humility from this person, or humor from this person, kindness from this person. So there are so many multiple role models that I look up to, and so many different forms, like fields of um sorry, I'm getting distracted with thunder and winds, and suddenly it's really nice, the weather's really nice.
Mhm.
um so very different. So I have like uh, a uh, a community full of dancers that I follow from the country, from outside as well. So these are dancers who are mostly underground dancers, and they're very few of them make it to heavy exposure places like reality shows, or just that actually, to be honest, or maybe some ads or films, maybe dance based films. But
Yep.
most of them are underground dancers who battle in the events that we host, and annually, the big ones that happen. These are all not covered by media or anything like that. So you see these guys hustling, and you see these guys drilling for maybe 6, 7, 8 hours a day. For what? For like just feeling that satisfaction of being good at what they do. And that is so inspiring. That has nothing to do with fame. That has nothing to do with being somebody who's in public eye. even
Yep.
though they are in the center of a dance community, while they're performing. It's the all the hours of work that they put that comes down to that moment. So there are so many people I look up to and take so many different things. I think it would be unfair to mention one or two, and it would sound a little superficial also. Like if I said, "Wow, I really think Deepika Padukone is, so good at what she does, and she puts in so much hard work," or I've seen Nargis Fakri dance and dance until her feet are gone, and and she still does it in heels, and she still does it like a sass queen. I mean, these are guys who are well known, but what about these guys who are just drilling and killing it every day?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of them.
Awesome.
I'm
All
actually
right.
really glad that I know so many such people who I'm inspired by on a daily basis, like creatively, either um, with what they do or how they express what they do, how they feel about things, how they not just like creatively as in artistically, but even politically or spiritually. So many different kinds of people that I follow who have so many different kinds of things to say, but um, I feel like it's sort of empowering. But anyway, yeah, coming back to where we were.
Right. Um, okay, so Faria, you're all about art. So if life was a canvas, if life was a canvas, what are you seeing on it today? What's on your canvas of life today?
Today,
Screenshot of today.
today is a little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue and some sprinkles of pink.
Okay. And what do these colors represent to you?
Um, Yellow is hope. It's to do with my power of manifestation, and blue is to do with the beautiful night that we are having. I feel that our conversation is very therapeutic, and
Good.
pink is to do with our the way we are. I think the things that we're talking about, the things to do with art and quirkiness, and it's like that bright pink, like the one that you're wearing, but like magenta even more.
Hmm.
It's like popping out really.
Thank you. All right. So the tattoo that you have.
Yes,
Yes, I saw. I conquered. No, I'm missing the first one. Which one am I missing?
I came, I saw, I conquered. Any
Yeah.
busy
So
witchy.
yes. So I forgot that I came. It's like I jumped straight to I saw. I conquered. Trust me to do that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this was my first tattoo. This I heard in my literature class for the first time, and the first time I heard it, I was like, "Wow, it's beautiful. It's so strong and bold, and it's just so out there." It's like I came, I saw, and I conquered. And I think that's it's. I wouldn't say motto, but I think it's like an ideal. Um, how do I put it? Ideal, whatever, something. Like I would want me to be that, to be able to conquer at least to the best of my potential, whatever that I see and I'm brought face to face with.
Super. So we speak of conquering. We're speaking of to the best of your ability. Now, have there been any moments that have kind of made you feel like, okay, I didn't conquer this one. I don't even want to say the word failure for whatever reason. I think I'm just being protective of you. But any any failures, any regrets that shaped you? Because I don't think there is any such thing as failures.
uh Failures maybe, regrets no. Definitely, uh I feel I'm the kind of person who I don't like to have regrets. I'm I used to be very much, um, matlab, already ready to grasp the lesson out of the failure. Already, like
Ah,
instant, like, "Acha, why did this happen? Okay, maybe I have to learn this, like, and I wouldn't even let myself feel bad about whatever happened or whatever I didn't get to do or whatever it was, right? So I kind of used to bottle up emotions that way, but I've
mhm,
learned to deal with emotions better now. So they come out and they show themselves in a better manner. But I've always been the kind of person who sees good in any kind of situation. So optimist, as you might say. Um, yes, there have definitely been situations where I've been like, "Arey, ye kya kar diya? Could have done so much better. Could have, you know, so cringe. Like, looking at myself and be like, what is this? I don't want to do it like this. It just happened." But I guess it's that feeling that remains with you, and you know that you don't want to do anything that matches with that feeling again. So I think it's important to experience these feelings also, where you know that only if you experience this, you're not going to repeat it. And just so grateful that it happened when it happened.
ooh. Yes, I did.
Wow. So yeah, I think that's the pink. The weather is the pink.
The weather is the pink. Super. Okay.
So yeah, I yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
नहीं, पहले आप, पहले आप.
Okay, पहले आप, पहले. Okay.
So I think yeah. So just grateful that it happened whenever it did. Not like now. It would be many more eyes on it, or many more people being disappointed, I guess.
Hmm.
But most importantly, it would just, my disappointment would really hurt me. So I think that's something.
Hmm. I like that. Okay, we have a question from Guess Who? So
Ooh.
it says, how do you navigate through relationships while you navigate through yourself and while you stay grounded and not losing who you are?
Ha, wow, you. This is what a wonderful time to ask this question. Uh, Difficulty, definitely. I find difficulty navigating through relationships because it's always a, it's always about maintaining a balance between how important or how much importance you give to yourself and your feelings, while also respecting and doing right by someone else. And I think it's a constant effort to keep that balance. Um, but I think it definitely helps when my grounding is stronger. So that way I'm able to weigh out what is more important, my mental peace and my um, give and take system, or the other person needing this right now, or the other person requiring some sort of give and take again. So I think
Hmm.
it's definitely, relationships are about give and take. There's no denying it. um but when you're grounded, it's easier to take the how do I say, the toll when there's too much being taken, or too much being given you know
Hmm.
so um, there are multiple ways that I use to ground myself physically. There are about 3 4 channels that I use.
Tell us.
um, One would be journaling. I've been doing that for about 2 years now. It's not every day. I don't get to do it every day, even though I can. I think it's more to do with the mindset and the laziness, to be honest. But I do it as often as possible. Yeah, yeah, I'll be honest, lazy only. Yeah, bazu book rakhi हुई रहती है, लेकिन I don't open it and write it. We all know. So, so I
Okay.
think that's something that's really helped me, because it's basically venting,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's non-judgmental one.
Yeah.
And another, this thing is, it's a release through something. So when the writing is coming, it's also the flow of that emotion or that energy that's passing through. So it sort of becomes lighter and the page becomes heavier.
Wow, 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 wow.
One journaling. Another one is meditation or movement or listening to music. I would club them together. Um, and then there is venting or talking to people who ground me. And then there's painting.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So she
It,
says,
it,
oh,
it's like a, you see it on the
wow,
wall.
yes, I
It,
can. And I remember that big thing that you guys had done in, was it your room or was it Anaya's room?
it was the
Your
room
room.
and the floor, the bathroom door and everything.
Everything, yes, it was crazy. All
Hmm.
right, so Saida says also in regards to friendships as relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So you
I,
spoke about journaling. Anything else?
well, these are physical things that I would do. Mentally, I think over time, my friendships have become such where I don't have to deal so much with it. There's not a lot of baggage that comes with it. So I guess that's one light aspect of my life where it's easygoing and I can tread through, you know, just talk or just communication is what really helps. And I think we take communication very lightly.
No,
I think it's
the most important thing at the end of the day.
it's the most important. Like I cannot put more emphasis on it. The most important thing, right? Like
Yeah,
the minute you honestly communicate your truth, you are closer to it, and so is the other person, and then you meet midway, and it's like a revelation. It's like boom, the energy just changes. And I think that definitely that communication is something that I use.
yeah, and I think sometimes we are not able to communicate, or we don't put the emphasis on communication because we're not communicating with our own self. You know, there's that hesitation to communicate with all honestly with yourself. You feel
Yes.
like, and then we're constantly judging ourselves. We're constantly like wondering, is this right? Is this right to say? Is this right or not? Etc. Okay, then there's more. She says, but what if your communication is not reciprocated?
Most times it is not reciprocated. Most times because we are filled with a uh, generation and beyond full of people who don't know how to express their feelings,
Hmm.
because it's not, we're not brought up that way. We're just told to keep it inside and shut up and just deal with it and just go flow again, just live your life after.
Yeah,
And I think that DNA is within us also, but I think there's some sort of awakening that's happening with ours and beyond us, that's really changing um, the way we look at uh, relationships, the way we look at communication. um, I believe like things like war or um, really bad monopoly politics, all of this can be solved with communication. It's just,
yeah,
anyway, it's idealistic to be honest, but most times we're not reciprocated with good communication. But I really truly believe that what you give, eventually you will receive. And I've noticed this in a lot of places. Like I've seen people who don't know how to treat people well treating me well because I'm treating them a certain way. I'm giving
yeah.
respect. I'm giving the respect, and they have no choice to give that in return.
Hmm.
So I think that's sort of the boundary that you create for yourself. Okay, beyond this, I'm not going to let you, mend. Um, what's the word? Um,
Influence.
sort of influence my um, boundaries,
Hmm.
and that way. So I
Right.
think it takes a little effort, but I think if it's important, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, and the other thing is also when you look at what you give, you also get back, is what you said. But I think let's take it one level up. What you give does not essentially have to come back from the same person. It can come back from anywhere else. And as you said, sometimes people don't know how to communicate, so they don't communicate in that way. However, if you give it out there, then there is somebody who's watching you, somebody who's observant of you, and then they give it to you, whether it's respect or reciprocating your feelings. I like what Kosaji said. She says friends are like mirrors, and isn't that so true? And disappointment in reciprocation comes from expectations. Yes. So if instead of expecting from the same person, if we just give it out there, knowing that it's going out there and somebody else will pick it up and give it back to you, it's probably a lighter way of looking at things, maybe.
Yeah. Also, I think more than giving it with the idea of um, uh, receiving it sometime later, I think something that's helped me a lot is were you going to say something?
No, I just said to just give.
Haha. Something that's really helped me is this. I don't know if it was a quote or a passage that I read in a book. It was a very random book. I'm sitting in a new city and I'm sitting in somebody else's house. I just pick up this random book, open this page, and I read this passage that completely changed my perspective about things I was looking at, right? And I started looking at everyone I was viewing as me, living that life. It's
Hmm.
just me, but they're in that body and they're living that life. Like a poor man sitting on the road, it's me. What if it was me? As an actor, it's a brilliant thing to do and empathize and live somebody else's life. I think that's what's helped me also. But when you start viewing the world in that sense, it's so much easier to treat people the way you would treat yourself. And I think that's that's what even Qasr Sultana said about friends being like mirrors, because you treat them how you treat yourself. And it's such a clear picture that you would paint for yourself,
Hmm.
um, the way you view your friendships or your relationships.
Absolutely.
That's what I
So
also meant about creating those boundaries and not letting them
yeah,
trouble you.
interfere with it, absolutely. So we had this question from Vasant even before the show started, and I was looking for it, so I'm so glad it's posted again. So it says playing different roles in acting can change the personality for over a period of time. What's your take on it?
Definitely, most definitely. I think that um, I think one, that we embody all the personalities under the sky in each one of us. Anyway, we do that. It's just about highlighting it while you're playing that role. Second, when after you're done with that role, it definitely becomes a part of you. It's probably dormant, but it comes up when it's required or whatever. But I think it just adds on. It just adds on, and yeah, maybe multiple personality could hit me later on in life, but until then, I'm good.
So,
Toba toba.
tuba, tuba. Sorry. Okay, okay. So moving on. Um, So earlier today, I did a quote, and my quote said, "Faith always walks taller than confidence." Right?
Nice.
Yeah. And again, I wasn't indicating about your height or the fact that I have to stand on the takhat to hug you, but gosh, I missed that. So yes, so
Right.
yes, yeah. So so faith walks taller than confidence. What does that even mean to you?
Um, I think confidence roots from a very physical uh, sense of being. That you would have. confidence in yourself, or you would have confidence in somebody, or your skills, or you have confidence because you've you've done it, or you've been doing it, or you know that something is going to work out because of previous um because of history, or previous experiences. But I think faith is to do with a lot more. It's a different, it's like a level up. It's to do with some somewhat, it's to do with awareness and intuition, and it's to do with a knowing in the core, which is way stronger than confidence, because it's connecting you with a higher power, which not a lot of people are open to receiving. So even though you might be confident about yourself, when you have faith in yourself, it's a different ball game altogether. It's sounding so much stronger, and so much there's so much more. You have confidence in faith, but you may not have faith and confidence.
Yeah, because I think sometimes faith is a very, as you said, an outward process where you have to walk a particular way. You're like, fake it till you make it is a lot to do with confidence, where okay, it's external, but faith is that little voice inside, which might sound a little soft and feeble, but it can shake the world if you listen to it. So yes,
Yeah.
thank you for, and a little disclaimer. I'm sure you haven't seen my video of today.
No, what video?
Exactly. So when I spoke of this, I literally spoke exactly what you just shared. So that's why I'm smiling away while you were speaking, because quite
Oh,
literally said the same stuff. Yes, thank you. All right, so we have a few more comments that came in. Dale says it's healthy to slow down to talk to someone, especially for your karma. And Ida says, one second, she says, but everyone's looking at a different mirror.
wow.
Yes. Mm. And we have got Faizan, who says, what keeps you motivated?
Uh, I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew what is that one or two or multiple things to keep me motivated. I don't think there is you know um something that keeps me motivated. I think consistency is something that I've been working on for a while now. It's been mm, 3 years, I think. 2018, I finished college, and I told my dad, give me 6 months after college to figure out what I want to do, because I wanted to go to Attakalari, which was a school dance school in Bangalore. I wanted to go to NSD, which is a theatre school in Delhi. I wanted to go to FTII, which is a film school in Pune, and maybe even go abroad and study. So I had all these different things, and I wasn't sure until I finished college, until I did so much theater and so much acting. Even then, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after college. So 6 months into it, I decided that, okay, you know what? Let me take this seriously. Let me take myself seriously and give this a shot. So I had like a 1.5 hour conversation with my mentor in Bombay, who's a good friend of mom's. She was kind enough to sit me down and give me a reality check and say, you cannot you cannot be doing this with yourself. You have to change your diet, you have to do this workout regime, you have to do this and that. And from my toenails to my hair to my Instagram, she gave me mentorship about everything. So I'm, again, like, I'm grateful for such angel like
Yeah.
people who come into my life at the right time to I definitely think I manifest them. But yeah, I'm really grateful for such people who come in and you know motivate me. Um she, and she's and she for the first 1 year, she was very patient with me. For example, if she would ask me to send weekly videos, there would be once or in a month, or something like that, or I would not keep up, or and then I would have these major fear, this thing, to call her and give her an update of what's up, why am I not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it was definitely a process. uh, karte 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 I've reached a place where at least 3 times a week I work out, 4 times a week I work out. um, Or there have been times, for example, where I just couldn't move, I couldn't dance for months. And and dancing is something so close to my heart. I do it out of sheer joy, and the joy of seeing myself move closely with music, it's something that I cannot express. It's a very beautiful feeling. So not being able to do that again, it's lack of motivation or lack of inspiration. So these things, I think they have to be a part of the process. Otherwise, the distance and the time between going up and down will not reduce.
Hmm.
I think, you know the now, if I'm motivated over here, this whole period of me not being motivated and then coming back to it is going to, shorten the next one. So
Hmm.
the next period of me not doing it is going to be shorter and then shorter and then shorter. Then eventually I'm going to be able to do it how I want to do it, and then mold it according to my um, needs and necessities.
Super.
That's how I believe it's been happening with me. I mean, every process is different. I think every individual needs to find their own process. Otherwise, it's not, no, nobody can work according to somebody else's process. It
Hmm.
has to be such personalized, journey, because I think motivation is something that really comes from within. You can be inspired, you can be motivated by someone else sometimes, yes, definitely. Go pick that weight up and do your reps. Woo! Yeah, okay, but I'm not feeling it.
Hmm.
So it definitely needs to come from within. So
Yeah. And I think sometimes we beat ourselves down because we feel like, oh, it has to be done in this particular way. But I like what you said about it has to be personalized. It has to feel good about your own self. So awesome. And we've got a nugget or a gem of wisdom from Kosaji. She says, with confidence, you may reach heights. With faith, you get into a depth of knowing. Thank you. All
I would
right.
like to say this to all the viewers watching this tonight. That is my mother.
And that is my Kosaji. Yes. Okay, so we've got a question from Rahil. He says, when you speak about confidence, have you faced any criticism where you were acting? I saw you on Hyderabad Diaries. If I'm not wrong, it was very good. So if you face any critics, how do you tackle that situation?
um, just how I spoke about validation coming from the right people, I think even criticism coming from the right people matters, because a lot of people have a lot of things to say, and you cannot be sitting and listening and putting it in your bag of, I'm going to need to do this for myself, I'm going to have to do this to improve, because everyone comes from such different backgrounds and they have so many subjective views and opinions. It's very difficult to listen to everybody. So I think to to know what kind of criticism to take is what I look at. Even in art, for example, there is so much art and content out there, but what do you really look at and what do you really appreciate? There are so many dancers out there making videos every day. You can see so much content when you're scrolling up and down Instagram, Facebook, wherever, right? It how do you look and decide what kind of quality content do you want yourself to be inspired from? I think that's truly so important, to have an idealistic bar set for you, that okay, this is the kind of level that I want to relate myself to. And and it could be anything. To be honest, it only depends on what you want to see yourself become, and what you think your strength is. If somebody thinks they are good at comedy, for them to think that they should or should not be something else is totally their decision. Again, it's their risk to take, and all of that. So I think criticism, yeah, it's good, but at the end of the day, you have to take your own risks and follow your own intuition and your heart.
Hmm.
It's going to be
So,
difficult. Like right now, I'm also dealing with choices that are going to affect or uh, play out differently in the future, but I'm going to have to make these decisions, and it's scary. I don't want to make these decisions. I want to run away. Um I want somebody else to make these decisions for me, and make sure that they're good decisions and they're like successful projects and all of these things. And like, I want good money. I want to work with amazing artists, but I have to do it myself. So yeah.
And I know you'll do them good, and I know you'll take the right choices, make the right choices. All the best for that. Super. So if Faria of today was to give Faria of, say, maybe take some, no, actually let's flip it. You always give your future self some advice. I actually want to do it the other way around because I know it's going to be interesting. If you were to take advice from little Faria, what would that
Hmm.
be?
Little Faria was a fabulous young girl.
Was a drama queen?
Was she? You
Oh,
should
she
know.
wasn't. Oh, she wasn't. She was sweet.
Little Faria, I think, always knew that uh, she wanted to. I remember standing in front of the mirror and singing songs and, lyrics and acting them out and looking at movie heroines and being like, wow, I want to be like them. But I think, little Faria should have just told me that just find this sooner. This is your calling. मतलब यही है. ना मत
Hmm.
सोचो. Just do it.
Hmm.
And Faria also likes to be heard once in a while, which I had forgotten. So I think a lot of my inner child sessions helped me.
Hmm.
Um, I think everyone should go for therapy, man. Just a side note.
Yeah.
Therapy is, I think we should normalize therapy. And I think inner child healing or inner child, just listening, just talking to your um, inner child self um, is going to take you places.
True.
So I think more communication with her.
Hmm. That's definitely a plus. I remember one of the limiting beliefs I had was that nobody listens to me, and this was after being a speaker and everything else, and I'm at the master practitioner level, and they said to identify a limiting belief, and the one that came up in my head was no one listens to me, and I'm like, really? I'm literally sitting there asking myself, really? But isn't it interesting, the things that we say to ourselves growing up, and then they become a part of us, and then you have to go through a process to let it go so that the real you can shine through. So
It's so
thank you
true.
for bringing that up. It is definitely important.
You know, Ironically, that is something that could be misinterpreted as grounding.
Hmm. Another thing that comes up for me is holding back being proud. Because in fact, even today when I was sharing your post, I was so full of pride, like really full of pride. Yet there was this little thing inside of me saying, oh, am I calling it pride or am I being proud? Because there is a difference, right? And you don't want to come across as, I don't know, I feel like when somebody's being proud, they're being arrogant. Maybe I'm looking at pride and proud as arrogance, so being too, high horse, head in the clouds. And then there was this part of me that said, no, 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 we're talking about staying grounded. I want to take pride in this, but I'm also so full of joy because it's Faria, you know. So I guess so many things that we give meanings to our emotions kind of begin to then stick on us as if it was, layers and layers of clay, probably. And then when you want to take off those layers, you have to scrape through to find the original piece that you are. So kind of like the
Right.
golden Buddha covered with clay, and then when they scraped it all out is when the golden Buddha actually shone through, shined through, whatever. Great, my grammar's gone excited. But yeah. Okay, we've got Vidya. Vidya, thank you so much for that. She says, "Beauty with knowledge, fame with humbleness, indeed grounded, dear Faria." This is a lovely friend of mine. And Shrikant says, "How about Faria pose some questions to RK? Did I just get myself into this?"
Definitely. I think I would love to know why you started doing these weekly talks. I mean, this is something that needs consistency for sure. and definitely that requires some sort of motivation, something that's driving you to do this. I mean, apart from doing this for yourself, I know that that's one of the main reasons when you definitely want to know and understand why somebody is being or doing something. Um,
Hmm.
what's your
Okay, what's my why? Actually, even before these weekly talks, I had started doing daily videos. So May 1st, 2018, I started doing daily videos, and today was day 1115 of those daily videos. When I touched 700, that little voice in my head was like, maybe they got bored of it. Maybe I should switch it off. Like put an end to this. I thought I would stop at 750 for some reason, but that's when lockdown also happened, and I thought, let me give my listeners in my tribe something more solid to chew on, because these daily videos that I do was 5 to 10 minutes max. I thought, let's give them, like when you wean a baby off milk, you give them something solid to eat. So I said, okay, let me do these weekly interviews, because I have these amazing people on my circle of genius, people I've met and everything, taken inspiration from. I said, let's start doing it this way. But then as I began doing the weekly videos, the requirement or the demand for the dailies also continued. So neither that stopped nor this. So I'm just going on with both of them because I thoroughly enjoy it. It's so enriching to speak to different people on different topics and learn in the process. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
it's lovely.
And we've got Rahil who appreciates your answer. He's the one who asked you about the critics. He says, I like the thought you mentioned. Critics from the right people is important. Thank you for a fruitful conversation. Yes, thank you. And we've got somebody else over here who's appreciating your acting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And role model for Faria, of Faria. So, Anita, we spoke about this some time back. I don't know if you were here listening to the conversation then, but yes, tell us about your mom. I just can't let you go without this.
You're right. She's a major
Yes,
role model for me. Can't lie.
absolutely. Yes.
I think she's a major grounding point. She is whatever she has become now. Is so hugely a part of what I am now. I think we both were such different people years ago, and I think her metamorphosis has been a very key role in what I am now and what my sister is now. So I think it's lovely. I think it's like we have almost sessions on a daily basis, and for all of us, yeah, I know, right? She's this magic tribe mama. She has these people around her that she's attracting, and it's her tribe. And I think the word tribe is more than the word family, because it bonds you with a very higher connection, I believe. It grounds you, and it connects you on more levels than just eating together or being related by blood even. And I think she has the power to um, shine, put light on other people's powers, which is brilliant. I think everyone she
Yeah.
comes across, she just like, hey, you have this power, and they're like, wait, was I sleeping all this while? and and I've seen this way too many times now to be able to deny it. It's
So have I.
beautiful.
So have
Gifted
I.
woman.
So yes. So there she is, and I'm sure she's like, but yes, I would. So yes, thank you, Faria. Uh, Last three things that you want to kind of close this conversation with, because we've got lots of people watching on the live as well as they will join us on replay, hopefully. So anything that you would like, three things.
I think that we
Yes,
just tested.
yeah.
Um, I think one definitely this session
Yeah.
was very therapeutic for some reason. Uh, it has such beautiful energy, and I think you should totally continue it. Nobody's gonna get bored ever. Please don't think like that. It's really beautiful. I'm so glad that you had me on board and you had the confidence in me that you did. You said, I know that you're
Yeah,
a
I just
speaker.
knew. I just knew.
Thank you for that. Thank you for having me on this. Um, I think another thing I would like to say is that I've been shut in my room for the past 4 days because I was in contact with somebody who had COVID. So I've been quarantined. And I think I definitely needed this forceful lockdown because I was up and about constantly for a while now. Even though I was taking a break, I was still running around somewhere or the other in my head or physically even. So I think this has brought me a lot of centering and a lot of grounding because this is my space and this is something, this is my private bubble that I've created for myself. It's like a safety zone. So a lot of things come down come to you. They you have these downloads that when you're over here it's like a hibernation thing, but more to do with awareness. So I'm grateful for this. I think this time that I'm getting to myself. And the third thing I would like to say is that I'm super grateful for all the love that I'm receiving um after the movie, and I hope that people see me for who I am, and people see um, all the love and passion that I have towards art and towards um, building community and building um, a, a sort of this how do I put this sort of environment where artists who come from nothing, who come from a place of self sufficiency or self built foundations, are appreciated for all the hard work that they've put in. And I think this environment needs to be empowered a little more now. It's about time. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's
That's about it. Thank you so much. And I like how when we're I love what you said about running around either outside or even in your head. And sometimes when we're constantly doing that and we don't know how to pause, uh, the universe gives us that opportunity to pause, and it could be as difficult as a lockdown perhaps, or maybe just some other way in which we're kind of made to take a moment to just audit what's going on the outside as well as on the inside. So very wisely shared. I'm seeing a lot of appreciation for the balanced person that you are. Vidya says lots of thanks a ton, Brooks, for the lovely conversation. As I said, she's my friend from here in UAE. Thank you, Faizan, for watching. Anita as well. All the best, Faria. Stay blessed. Lots of blessings coming in. Um, Vidya, again, thanks a ton for the beautiful talk. Lots to learn and take with us. All the very best for all your endeavors, dear Faria. Thank you, everybody. Once again, Lakshman says, it was good to know more about you. It was a good session. Thank you, Ruqya Khan. Thank you, Lakshman, for joining us. And Srikant says, thanks for the insightful conversation. Many takeaways in whatever the professional of passion they were in. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Dale. Dale is watching us all the way from the US, and he is a regular. He tunes in, and I just love the fact that people make the time for these conversations. Big hugs coming in all the way from Australia. Thank you so much.
so much.
Love you. Thank you, Ritu. So, yes, thank you everybody for watching this conversation. I think 57 episodes, each one of them special, but this one was super special. Thank you so much, Faria, and wish you all the best. Thank you, Beta. All the best to
Thank
you. So, good night, everybody. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe. Bye bye. Take care. Lots of
you.
love.
Good night.
Bye bye. Good night, everyone.